creative zone for a while. Join Jason and Mike in true Marvelite style as they wax poetic like true believers.
Excelsior!
In the Marvel sphere.
Spidey sense tingling.
The Marvel sphere.
It's clobberin' time.
We're in the Marvel sphere.
Sparks.
In the Marvel sphere.
Avengers assemble.
The Marvel sphere.
Hey, Bob.
It's time for Marvel sphere.
Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of Marvel Sphere, brought to you by NeverEndingRadicalDude.com. As always, I'm Jason Fury, here with Mike McGee.
Hello, and welcome back, where we talk everything Marvel Comics, Marvel movies, Marvel TV, and what better topic to talk about now than with the recent release of the Blu-ray DVD of the breakout hit of the summer, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Burr, burr, burr.
And some fanfare
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, out on Blu-ray DVD, so you can watch it in slow-mo. I am Groot.
There you go. Yeah, so it won't be us doing a whole podcast just saying I am Groot. We'll actually tell you what we thought of the movie, and I think we're both agreed. It was very entertaining.
Very entertaining, yes. Some might say the definition of entertainment.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And also for a property that neither one of us are really familiar with.
Yeah, as far as the comic book origins, I am admittedly not a big fan of the original stuff. I've flipped through some pages, looked at some collections since the release of this movie, and I never really read it, to be honest.
Yeah, me neither. Like, all I'd ever heard of was Rocket Raccoon, and I think a little bit about Drax, but it was mostly because it was related to, like, Captain Marvel stuff or things like that. But, yeah, never really been a big GOTG fan until the film.
LOL. But I will say, anybody that you meet on the street or at a comic shop, or well, maybe a comic shop, but you know, the general people, if they're saying, "Oh man, I've been a diehard Guardians of the Galaxy fan my whole life," man, they're full of it.
They liars.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Nobody talked about Guardians of the Galaxy before this movie. I think besides a select few, there might be one person out there grumbling like, "I get it," but I highly doubt it. It's just not a thing that was big until now, which shows you the power of the cinematic reboots of these franchises. It can heighten a franchise.
Yeah, because essentially this was Marvel's first real big gamble after Iron Man. I mean, Avengers was kind of a gamble, but, you know, you had good build-up with the Iron Man films with Captain America and Thor. You're going into Guardians with a whole new team you're being introduced to for the first time. You know, not really sure how it's going to gel, but it paid off in the end, I think.
Yeah, I'd say it's safe to say it paid off, and the dynamic I like is that, you know, once I saw the trailers and knew the movie was coming out and kind of heard rumblings, it got me like, okay, maybe I should pick up some comics. And Marvel had done a recent kind of franchise reboot or, you know, series reboot for all their books called the New not the New 52, that's DC, but All
Heresy.
New Marvel Now.
Yep. Marvel Now.
Or just Marvel Now. Now it's All New Marvel Now. Jesus. The All New Marvel coming up, All New Now Marvels next.
Part 2.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is Marvel did a reboot, and they started Guardians of the Galaxy at number 1 again, featuring the cast of what would be in the movie. And I've been reading that comic series, and I think it's awesome. And it's recently branched off into the legendary Star-Lord and a Rocket Raccoon ongoing series. I can't recommend all of them enough. They're great books. I would hop to the comic shop and get them. But, you know, this movie did that. It got me, you know, into Guardians comics also.
So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about what we liked, what we didn't like about this latest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right. So what's the coolest thing about it to you?
To me, honestly, it brought back a lot of old school Star Wars feelings for me, which is really weird. 'Cause, you know, it's like it's like a team fully comprised of Han Solos and Chewies, essentially, for me. And I kind of dig that.
Big Chewies.
Yeah, exactly. tree Chewie. It's like,
Yeah,
but
yeah. There's no design, like no denying the influence Star Wars has had on a film like this.
definitely. And I think a lot of that's attributed to James Gunn, the director, because he's a lot of his previous outings as a film writer and director, they've been along the lines of stuff like Slither or Super, starring Rainn Wilson, where it's ultra kinetic, ultra violent, sometimes just zany and off the wall. But
Yeah,
with this
Super's
one,
definitely disgusting. There's
yeah.
some pretty gruesome parts.
But at the same time, like, he was able to kind of temper it a little bit more and make it feel epic this time around, and essentially open up a whole new area of the Marvel universe that hasn't been touched upon until about the third of the way through Avengers, was the cosmic realm.
Yeah, so I think Guardians being the first step in the cosmic Marvel universe, I think it was extremely successful. And with me, I'm a huge science fiction fan. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm a huge fan of just cool stuff. And I think this movie is just jam-packed. It's got the nostalgia feeling in it, with the mixtape. It's got the awesome, like, science space battles and, like, creatures all over the place. And, Rocket and Groot, two of the main characters, all CG creatures. And, it's just, besides a great Marvel movie, just a fantastic science fiction movie.
Okay, hands down, who is your favorite Guardian?
Ooh, well, I'm going to put my hands halfway up. I'm easy. I like Rocket. I think he's pretty cool. And I like Star-Lord a lot, but I think, not to sound like everyone else, but Rocket kind of stole the show for me in this movie. He was just awesome.
Cool.
What about you?
Honestly, I mean, I liked everyone, but if I had to pick a favorite member of the team, it would be Drax, honestly.
Nice.
Just because, and here was the whole thing. When I first heard about Dave Bautista playing Drax, I'm like, okay, I've seen him in a couple of things. He's primarily known as a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I've seen him once in a while. He showed up on Smallville as a bad guy. He was a good bad guy for that show. But up until then, I'm like, can he do, like, a full movie, in that makeup, in that character? And it was just the way he downplays a lot of his stuff actually kind of won me over. Like, the fact that his character takes everything at its word, literally. There's no metaphorical speech for him or anything like that. That really made it kind of funny for me and made him likable, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a very likable character. And I think my fear, like, that was really the only thing I was really worried about, because I thought, oh, great, another Tyler Mane Sabretooth scenario. Here we go. Like, not that Sabretooth was horrible, but, wrestlers kind of have a bad rap as not being able to handle themselves in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and
but
also,
I think, yeah.
And also Sabretooth, with the exception of probably the X-Men Origins Wolverine movie, which we may or may not speak of.
You're actually not supposed to talk about
to talk about that one.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, Sabretooth, for example, he didn't have a character arc in those movies. Right. Like, everyone in this film feels like they got their agenda placed out very well, and, and they got their own journey they got to go on, essentially.
Yeah, and, they work together to get there, too, which is, the moral of the story, friendship, stronger than anything.
And also, yeah, a very nice moral for kids in a movie that's not necessarily geared towards kids. There's a lot of adult, more grown-up humor taking place throughout this film.
Yeah, definitely. What about, did you have any issues with it? Anything stick out, like saying, man, I wish that wasn't in the movie, or, ooh, this was going so great up until then?
Nothing really god-awful, nothing terrible. The main thing I kind of felt was I didn't really care about the stakes in the film, if that makes any sense. Like, the villain, I thought the guy who played the villain, Ronan, he did a fine job. It's just that villain's not very memorable to me, He's the one and done,
Yeah,
He shows up, does chaos, but other than that, he's not really that memorable. He's not like a Loki, or even, I dare say, like Red Skull from
right. Yeah, definitely
America.
Not like iconic. Ronan, played by Lee Pace, because I don't have IMDb up right now.
Yeah. Lee Pace.
But yeah, I agree. That's probably a sticking point with me too. Like, no, it didn't really. The rest of the movie was just so damn good. It didn't really matter. I think is what happened. It just felt like he was there just to be kind of just because they said we got to have a bad guy. It's a Marvel movie, you know. We got to throw something in there, and you know, Thanos wasn't really getting out of his chair or anything yet. So, but I guess that's what we got. Just someone kind of like Thanos light.
Yeah, but even that scene, like just that one scene, is spoilers. It's heading towards something big. You get the sense that there's something big on the horizon for this universe.
Yeah, and you know, all I gotta say is like the only thing I really had a problem with, which is something most people love, dancing Groot in the pot at the end.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Gotta say it. I thought it kind of like right when I was reclining in my seat, saying that was pretty good. They threw that crap in my face. I was like, come on now, slow it down. I don't know. Maybe that's, I mean, definitely a nitpick, but I think it reminds me of like, I had a moment of zen with the new Ninja Turtles movie where they were like on their skateboards and they're going into the sewers and they're on their way to their home. And it's like, oh my God, this is what I've always wanted. And then they all like get stuck in a hole together and one of them farts. And I'm like, okay, you blew it. You blew it.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dancing Groot. I just thought that was lame. And it seemed like it was maybe put in later. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a note from Disney, you know, being like, we got to see Groot, you know, he's the cute one, he's the pure one. We got to see him being happy-go-lucky one last time. Don't leave the kids on a downer note.
When people that don't read the comics don't realize that he got a little splinter, so he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Everyone else is like, oh my God, he's gone. So I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a minor nitpick. I mean, that's just me being a weirdo. The movie's brilliant. James Gunn did a wonderful job, and the cast was just stellar. And I think Marvel's got a huge franchise on their hand that I believe can rival the Avengers in popularity.
Well, we'll see come May 2017, I think. That's when he said the sequel's coming out.
I think so, yeah. I saw the logo for it. Also, it was like the original logo scribbled out with May on it.
Yeah, so we'll see what secrets they got in store for us, definitely, because I know there was a piece of news, you know, a while back. James Gunn said he changed the origin of Star-Lord's dad, essentially, from what was in the comics. Even he said, he's like, yeah, what's in the comics is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I think it's Jason of Spartax, or he's like his dad's like a king of a planet of like warriors, and he's just kind of he's just not a good person. But I hear, he said, James Gunn said he was going to like change that history a bit and make it a surprise to audiences. So we'll see what he's got cooking.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's interesting.
Well, where would you want the franchise to kind of go from here, essentially, where they... You know, they're heading out for parts unknown. They're a fully formed team now. The Infinity Stones are still out there.
Yeah, I mean, like what we said, this has really opened up the world. So, you know, I want to see more things set in space. But, you know, Marvel's being pretty open about their slate of movies with their timelines and stuff for the next several years. So, you know, all we really have in the future that would potentially be in space is pretty much the sequel to Guardians, so I'm not really sure what they're going to do with that.
I could kind of see that being kind of a springboard for, who knows, Phase 4 or 5 type stuff. Like, you could introduce characters like, well, they introduced the Nova Corps. You could introduce the Nova, you know, that we're familiar with from Earth, Adam Warlock. Who else is there?
Well, so, yeah, like... There's like small, like the Starjammers and stuff, like more less known ones, which is Corsair, Scott Summers' dad.
I don't know if they'd be able to touch that though, due to.
I doubt it. Yeah. See, that's the thing. They can only touch so much in space because of all the property rights, you know, with Sony and Fox and all that stuff. Yeah. So we'll see what they can get their hands on. But I'd be cool with just like Iron Man going up and visiting, or, you know, like having like a spacesuit to go up there, or, you know, just kind of mixing some of the already established characters into their universe, tying them up a little bit more besides just Thanos.
Right. Planet Hulk, dude. Get a planet.
Oh, man.
That
would be the coolest.
Yeah, definitely.
Get Rocket down there with them.
That'd be the team up of the century right there.
That would be awesome.
Well, and also, like, yeah, I'm kind of just wondering, what'd you think of that after credits Easter egg?
You know, I think the after credits this time around, a lot of people complain because it doesn't have like a lot of weight. It's just kind of like lighthearted and goofy, and I think that's cool. It just fits the tone of the movie. The movie's just got great action, awesome like comedy in it, and good special effects. And I think they just kind of drove it home with the after effects and really just said, this is just kind of our own thing right now.
Mm-hmm. Would you be interested in seeing a new take on that character? Last time he had a movie, it wasn't so grand.
Mr. Lucas, Howard the Duck movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! Don't watch that movie. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not interested in that. I love ducks. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that'd be a good idea. I think he could be cool in like a quick scene or something. Like I don't know. Or just what they did was kind of perfect. But it's cool to know that character is floating around the universe, though.
Right.
He's out there. Like, what's he gonna do? I just think that'd be a hard sell. Howard the Duck movie.
I think he and Stan Lee should team up for the rest of these Marvel movies, just to cameo together as a duo. Like everywhere Stan Lee goes, Howard the Duck is right next to him.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Sure.
I love that.
I mean, Stan Lee, God bless his soul, not going to be around forever. Maybe Howard can take over.
There you go.
The cameos.
There you go. That'd be a fun little passing of the torch.
Yeah. I think we're not really going to argue. The movie's awesome. I think most people listening agree that the movie's awesome. It's on Blu-ray DVD now, and I just can't wait to see where they go with it, and I can't wait to rewatch this movie over and over again.
Mm-hmm, definitely. It's just if you haven't seen it yet, you've been living under a rock. Go see it. It's a fun ride. It just, like I said, you may not care so much about what's at stake for the heroes. You get to care about them, though, and you get to care about the fun and the laughs and the action.
Yeah, and I definitely felt for a lot of the characters. The action was spot on. The CG is great, like I said. The great direction, great musical score, great soundtrack. It's something just truly special. I think it's just an amazing gift to Marvel and sci-fi fans out there.
And go check out those comics that Jason recommended.
Yeah, get out there. The Marvel Now Guardians of the Galaxy comics, Legendary Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon. They're actually really great stories, great art, a lot of big talent on it now that the movie's so popular. And I think now's as good a time as any to catch up and just keep yourself occupied until the sequel comes out.
There we go. All right.
There it is.
Well, that's been our take on Guardians of the Galaxy. You've been listening to Marvel Sphere, here courtesy of Neverending Radical Dude. We've been your hosts, Mike McGee and Jason Fury, and as always, face front, true believers.
I am not doing a Groot impression.
Oh.